Hey, welcome back to the Urban Pharmacy Podcast. We are 3 days out from the Holistic Health Bundle being gone for good. And today I have a guest in the podcast. It is Ben Raue, and he is actually one of the creators of the Holistic Health Bundle and a friend of mine. Now, I want to tell you about the Holistic Health Bundle before we get into his bio and his episode, because listen, if you're following me here, I know that you have some remote interest in living a more natural, holistic, or plant-based lifestyle. One of those three things you're interested in. Now, the Holistic Health Bundle is one of the most affordable ways to get your hands onto resources that are going to help you significantly on your path to wellness. When you compare it to working with me one-on-one or joining Holistic Wellness Society, it is the biggest bang for your buck. And it's only here until July 30th, 2023. Now, I really hate for you to miss out on this opportunity of getting this resource of over 100 contributions, ebooks, video courses, recipe guides, detoxification protocols, herbal remedies, growing your own herbs, mindset, breath work, harnessing the power of the sun to help balance, regulate, and improve hormone health and digestion and circadian rhythm. And there's just so much in there. There's trauma recovery. There is, again, detoxification protocols. I think there's 6 detoxification protocols. There's my friend Matt's 5-Star Salad Revolution. It's amazing book. There's so much, and I would really, truly hate for you to miss it. So make sure that you click down in the show notes to get the Holistic Health Bundle. It's only $50 for over $8,000 worth of content from doctors, naturopaths, nutritionists, holistic health practitioners, recipe creators, and more. So please, please, please trust me when I tell you that the Holistic Health Bundle is one of the best resources you can get your hands on outside of working with me one-on-one or in my community membership. I promise you will be so thankful. And maybe once you listen to Ben's transformation with holistic living, you'll be even more excited about the bundle. But when you do get the bundle, you're going to have access to his 90-day transformation. And we're going to talk more about his 90-day transformation in this episode. You're going to be mind blown. But let me tell you a little bit more about Ben. So from running the corporate rat race to quitting his job and traveling the world in search of enlightenment and finally reaching the best shape of his life at age 45, Ben Raue's physical and mental transformation has been anything but average. Truly, it's amazing. He actually really changed his life, but he has actually grown up fascinated by National Geographic and nature programs, and really had a lot of respect for living things and animals. And you're going to hear more about that in this episode. But his handle is plant-based Ben. If you want to go follow him, he shares a lot more outside of plant-based living these days. But you can take what you want and leave what you don't need. But Ben is just an incredible human being, and I'm super thankful to be working right alongside him with this Holistic Health Bundle, because we are helping to change the world one day and one person at a time. So I would love to know what you think about this episode. And if you have any comments or questions for Ben, just let me know and I'll be sure to get them answered for you. And I will give you the answers in the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not, just message me on Instagram and I'll be happy to send you an answer your way. But again, reminder, if you get the Holistic Health Bundle, you're going to get access to Ben's 90-day transformation, his plant-based chiseled body transformation, and you're going to be blown away by his story. So I hope it inspires you and that you take action on your health today. Ben Raue, welcome to the Urban Pharmacy Podcast. I'm thrilled to be here with you today.
Great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
I have been following you on social media for several years now, and I'm just I'm fascinated with your lifestyle and how you share truth. And I want to know more about your personal journey because it seems like you're always out there helping others. And we don't get to know enough about Ben. So that's why I asked you on. And we're also in the holistic health bundle together, which I'm very excited about. And yeah, so I want to hear about your journey. So let's get started with that. Um, First off, before we get into questions, how are you today?
Doing great, doing great. You mentioned the holistic health bundle. We're launching in a couple days. So I've just been getting it ready. We've got, 117 different books and courses, including your course in there. Thank you so much for the awesome contribution on that. Um, and yeah, it's just been a lot getting it ready. So I've been busy, but I can't tell you how excited I am because it's only lasts for 10 days, and it's just it's an amazing launch, amazing offering for people. So I'm in an excited mood lately.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I've been in multiple different bundles before, but I'm so excited about this one because the ones that I've been in before are plant-based or raw bundles, and this one is holistic. So this is like the other side of what I teach because I teach plant-based nutrition, but holistic living, I mean, my membership is called Holistic Wellness Society. Life is not just all about diet and exercise. Life is about taking a bird's eye view and looking at what's going on in a holistic way and helping to heal ourselves through different modalities and getting back to nature, simplifying life. And I feel like this bundle has all of that in it and more. And there's just so many amazing resources that people are just going to be like, wow, I don't even need to work with Stacy because it's all right here. Like truly that's how I feel. It's all in there. And I'm really, really excited to be part of it. So Ben, I found you and I was like, oh, plant-based Ben. I've got to follow him because plant-based living. So I kind of want to start there. I want to know your journey to how you became plant-based Ben and like your life up until now. I mean, give me your whole life story.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I came out of the womb. There was some primary turning points in my life that I'll share that kind of developed who I was and how I kind of became plant-based then. Part of it started off with just being an environmentalist and being plant-based, the impact, just loving nature, a respect for animals. And I grew up, I was fortunate, a fortunate person to live on land that backed up to a forest preserve. So every day we'd have deer. In the winter, we'd have deer coming up to our bird feeder. And my mother was an avid bird watcher, still is. And, so I grew just an immense appreciation for nature and animals. Growing up, we would watch Animal Planet, and I'd just be mesmerized by all of the shows. And at the end, they're like, "But the rainforest is being torn down. We don't do something about it soon." And when you're a 10-year-old kid, that's pretty traumatic. I mean, if you're a 50-year-old kid, it's pretty dramatic
Yeah.
to, hear what's going on in the world. And although my perspective on some of those things has adjusted over time, there's still the underlying desire that I have to respect and appreciate nature and cause as little harm as possible. So, that was the initial kind of what rooted me into a love and respect for nature and animals. And um, fast forward years later, I also have always been fascinated by health, always curious about it. And then one day, my father got cancer, and he was given only a 3% chance to live for 5 years. So basically, that's a death sentence.
Yeah.
And what might have been even worse news was he only had a 10% chance to live 2 years. So our whole family's thinking we have less than 2 years with dad. He was given a mixed cell lung cancer diagnosis, and so I said, "Gosh, there's got to be another way." I didn't know anything. This was a good 15 years ago or so, and I didn't know. So I'm like, "There's got to be another solution." And I start Googling, I start researching, and I came to the realization that there was so much more out there regarding healing that I had no idea anything about it. I didn't know about detoxification. I didn't know about the power of alkalinity in the body and oxygenation of the body and the power of raw foods and healing, and the whole mind, body, spirit. Like you were talking about the holistic health. And as you can see how this is one of the things that inspired me to come up with the concept of the holistic health bundle is there's so much that we have to learn that we weren't taught, that doctors weren't taught. There were, good people attempting to do their best, but limited by the education they received. So, I was really passionate. And so I spent that 2 years taking care of my father and also researching the Gerson therapy, oxytherapy, all of these different modalities that anything I could find, get my hands on. I even got to the point where I was going around and interviewing different doctors that were healing patients from nutrition-based and alternative protocols.
Wow.
And I was even interviewing folks who have survived other terminal illnesses. So that was a major turning point in how plant-based Ben started to become plant-based Ben, by this immense desire, not only for appreciation for nature, for animals, but now for health. And I felt like I just got handed a superpower, because I realized that through the power of nutrition, through holistic healing, we do have the tools to recover from almost anything. And my father, not only did he live 5 years, he lived another 12 years and died of a non-cancer related issue. He ended up doing a integrative protocol, which is different. It's using the conventional and mixing it in with addressing the other issues, with nutrition, tons of vitamins that were whole food vitamins that he was given to him, alkalizing his body, hydration, changing his diet, dealing with his emotional issues, in combination with the conventional therapy. So was it that saved him? We don't know, but he made it into that small 3% that most 97% of people don't make it out of. So there is something significant to that. And that was a major turning point in my life that at this point, I had a great awakening. And at this point, I'm still not plant-based Ben, but I'll pause there for a second, before I kind of move on to the next chapter, because there's a lot to unpack there. And it was a very transformative time for me with my father there.
Wow. Wow. I mean, you were really you were boots on the ground, just in dire need of finding a solution for your dad, it sounds like.
I was, and it woke me up to the point where you mentioned talking out about corruption and freedom and things like that, is because I don't think that a lot of us recognize the corruption within our agencies, the idea that we have something called captured agencies with the FDA and the CDC and other things that sometimes special interests and corporations have more power and influence, and seep into these agencies. And money influences policy, and we've been influenced by that. And due to that, that's something that I've expanded, into also speaking up about, because we want to control our health. We have to be able to control what goes into our body, and we have to be aware of the things that they say are safe. that may not be safe, because that's happened time over time with different medications, with lead paint, with DDT, with multiple medications, where at one point they may have been safe and effective and approved, and later retracted from that. So yeah. So just from that point on, just to come complete circle to the plant-based Ben, now I'm 44 years old. I'm still working in a kind of, after traveling the world for a little bit, a few years. I was in Thailand and India and trying to find myself after a long bout of corporate work, and realized that wasn't bringing me happiness, the 9 to 5 job. I had the golden handcuffs. And so I left that, started traveling and searching for inner peace, the other aspect of holistic healing, of finding that inner balance and peace within myself and finding out who I am. And at that point, at 44 years old, I realized I was going inward, but I really wasn't making an impact outward. And I thought I wanted to shift my attention. I said, what do I love? I love nature. I love animals. I love healing, but I'm not applying or sharing any of this information. I said, and I went to, and I was inspired by an event that I went to where these other influencers were sharing their stories and influencing and inspiring people. And I said, I want to do that. I want a platform where I can raise awareness for the things I care about. And I said, well, what can I really do? I said, well, I can try to get ripped and myself 90 days to transform my body. And if I do it, maybe I can use that as a platform to raise awareness about the things I care about. And that's how Plant-Based Ben was started.
Oh my God. That is hilarious, but also awesome. Oh my God. So you were just like, that's amazing. Okay. So I was like expecting you to just be like, I hit rock bottom and I just decided that I wanted to just take my health back. And so I did, and I documented it. But you were like, I am so inspired by seeing other people help other people that I'm going to take control of my life, and I'm going to share my story, and I'm going to inspire people through that. And you just decided and made your mind up that that's what's going to happen. And that's what okay, that's what you did. That's amazing. So, okay, tell me about your transformation. So like, how soon after you decided that you were going to do this, did you do it? Did you plan this out, or did you just like say, all right, I'm just going to stop the processed foods and like see what happens? Or were you like, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to eat? Like, were you really planning it out?
Yeah, here I am, 44 years old. I never had, I was what they call skinny fat. So I had 18% body fat, which is very normal, but I had like skinny arms in a belly. And so I'm like, do I gain muscle or do I lose fat? How do I do this? And I basically made a plan. I got back from Mexico. I was on a trip and I said, all right, I need a plan, because how am I going to do this? So I got a clear plan from somebody that I trusted and that was proven to have transformed themselves. I got basically, I told the part-time job where I was working as a consultant. I said, I was working full-time. I said, I'm going to have to go down to 20 hours a week. I have other plans with my life. And so I literally cut my work in half, at risk that they would have let me go because they wouldn't have been comfortable with that setup. So I really put myself out there and I just went for it. And I started measuring my progress. And I even booked a picture at a photo studio, which I never did anything like that in my life. And I said, I'm showing up there in 90 days, so I better make this happen. So I had real commitment, a clear plan. I started eating whole food, plant-based. I started working out on a regular routine. And I went from 18% body fat down to 10% body fat in those 90 days. I found out there were abs underneath the fat, which we all have a six-pack. We just have to remove what's not the six-pack, and it shows up. And and it just happened. And I looked at the pictures and I said, oh, I think that's pretty good. And I ended up sharing that online, and people took notice of it, and my account started to grow, and they started asking me questions how I did it, and I would ended up being a coach and supporting people, and I've worked with 100+ people over the last few years and creating solutions for people on how to do their own transformation. So that's the abbreviated version of my transformation was working out almost every day, 90 days, calorie deficit, whole food, plant-based, and dedication.
Before we get too far into this episode, I want to remind you that there's just a few days left to get the Holistic Health Bundle. This is a collaboration of over 117 resources to help you on your path to better living. I want to remind you of what's inside of the bundle so that you can see if this is right for you, but you can always just click down in the show notes to see if there's 2 to 3 things that you're going to love, and then that's going to be well worth your money. But let's dive in a little bit deeper. First off, again, like I said, the Holistic Health Bundle is a culmination of 117 plus ebooks, courses, programs, including my brand new mini video course that I did with Cohen called Nurturing Nature, Empowering Holistic and Plant-Based Kids. And this entire bundle covers an array of other subjects that are tailored to suit a diverse range of interests and skill sets. And there are doctors, there are naturopaths, nurses, holistic practitioners, herbalists, detoxification specialists, and recipe creators that are in this bundle that have contributed their resource just for you to elevate your health. So in the bundle, there is, again, herbalism, homeopathy, inner healing, natural care and beauty, detoxification, biohacking. There's a lot of plant-based recipes in there. So I know that if you're following my channel, you're probably quite interested in plant-based living. And there's lots of juice recipes and salad recipes in there as well. And this collection has something special for everyone. And each resource has been crafted by experienced creators, like I said, and health professionals who are really passionate about helping you achieve your holistic well-being. And again, the value is super undeniable. Most of the products in the bundle are brand new and they have never been released before. And if you were to buy all of them separately, it would be over $8,000 worth of content. But thanks to us putting our minds and hearts together, you can get it right now only through July 30th for $50. That's a 99% discount. So the best way that you can explore this is to just look through the sales page to see if any of the things pop out to you. Just scroll down to the bottom of the sales page and see all of the contributions. And if 2 or 3 of them pop out, it's going to be well worth your money. And then you can dive into the other things, over the next year, download all of the PDFs and ebooks to a hard drive or a thumb drive or to Google Drive. And then the video courses will all be accessible for the next year. So please don't wait. We have just a few more days and then the Holistic Health Bundle will be gone. And I am just so honored to be part of it. And I know that you're going to love this resource to help you live a better life. All right, back to the show. And why did you choose whole food plant-based for this?
That was the whole purpose. Anybody can, it wasn't because whole food plant-based is necessarily better. Personally, I think it is because, you're lighter, you're more energized, you're eating carb, things like keto. You can lose weight on keto, sure. You can get ripped on a carnivore diet, sure. But I didn't do the transformation for me as much as I did it for the animals, as I did it for the principle to show that you can get healthy and be at your best on a plant-based diet.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So then you created, you worked with people one-on-one. Do you have a 90-day transformation now that you share with people?
No, I stopped, about 3 years ago, when everything kind of hit, I stopped coaching and I put that on hold. And honestly, I just started creating the solutions like the holistic health bundle and the off-grid bundle, and to give people solutions in different areas. But there's still been a lot of demand for it. So I'm actually in the process of doing a live mini course for people who do sign up for the bundle. Yeah, it's going to be a 2 hour plus course, basically breaking down all my secrets, everything I've learned, how to do it, tips, pitfalls. So no matter who somebody gets a bundle through, actually, they can just use the same code and get into my course for free. So that's going to be launching a week after the bundle ends. So yeah, so that is going to be a solution I can provide for people if anybody wants to go into depth about my journey, and how to do it, and the same principles I use not only for myself, but my other clients.
Cool. And then I also just want to quickly ask about like the it almost looks like it's not like parkour, but like were you your calisthenics like did you decide that you were going to do a certain I'm like a Pilates studio owner, yoga background, bar, all of that. I studied fitness and exercise science, so I have to ask you this, like did you decide what type of training you were going to do? Like, did you do heavy weights? Did you just do calisthenics? I mean, because if you do look at your pictures, you're like ridiculously ripped. And I think everybody wants to know how to look that chiseled.
That's the thing, is I'm not that big. I'm
Yeah.
not. But when you see me, there's a beach body type and then there's a gym bro body type. I'm more of that beach body type,
Yeah.
where getting cut reveals the muscles, reveals the shape, the striations, the veins, and all of that. And I did, in terms of the workout routines, I did mostly a gym 5 days a week. Each muscle part I would work twice per week, for hypertrophy, for the muscle gain. Um, and at the same time, I was complementing that with calisthenics, as that you're thinking about the parkour. So
Mm-hmm.
calisthenics is basically, I do tricks on the poles. I can hang sideways and do a human flag.
Yeah.
I learned how to do a muscle up. And then also took my handstand that I did as a child, learned it again, and learned how to do handstand push-ups, which I now do. So it's all these tricks that I wasn't doing in my entire life, and now I'm doing them in my late 40s,
Wow.
and now I'm at 50, which I just turned 50. So, and still doing all that stuff. So, I'm not slowing down. If anything, I've still got goals where I'm doing other tricks and calisthenics that I'm working on that I haven't been able to accomplish yet. So, it's a passion of mine, calisthenics, that it does help to shape your body in certain ways when you do body exercises. And at the same time, it becomes play.
Right.
Someone always asks, what's the best cardio to do? And I would say the one that you enjoy the most,
Right.
because that's the one you probably will stick to. And it's consistency that's going to get you across the finish line.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned you kind of pivoted in once the pandemic came in 2020. So why did you pivot your focus at that time? Was it this internal like assignment feeling within that you just couldn't stay quiet about, and that you felt like you needed to be part of a solution and help people? Like what happened for you to kind of shift your focus from plant-based Ben and 90-day transformation to speaking up about what you feel is really important to help people understand about what's going on kind of behind the scenes, and that we're kind of hidden from, or that we're living a life, with things behind the curtain. Why did you decide to change your messaging?
Yeah, it was something I was called to do. I didn't want to do it because I knew how people would react. I've got clients, one-on-one clients. I've got customers that are using my meal planner and workout program. I've got, respected followers. I've got family members. And to speak up against the original narrative of what's been going on in that we would hear, if you question pharmaceutical products, you were labeled something, you were considered to not be trusting the science, and nothing could have been further from the truth. I was reading the science.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at evidence-based information. I wanted to know the truth. I didn't want to be, I'm not anti anything. I just wanted to, I just recognize there's been corruption and sometimes motives that the industry has, and sometimes things were being pushed. I wanted some proof. I wanted testing. I wanted some evidence. I wanted an option, and it became clear to me after a while that we were being misinformed. And so those that were considered to be spreading misinformation, and now the data's in, and we know today for that not to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
We know without going into the details, but what they had told us has been completely changed. And they said, well, if you don't do this, you're not going to help them. And that wasn't true. So all these different examples that finally came out in the truth through data and science over time. So I recognized there was a bigger force happening here. It wasn't just about, yeah, there's a bigger principle at play here. There were powers that were trying to gain more power, reducing our rights, and it was leading us in a very dark direction of more of a totalitarian type of regime.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that very clearly now once you start to look at that and reflect on history and investigate. But if you don't ask the question and you don't take a look behind the curtain, as you were saying, you really don't see the big picture. So once I saw it, I always wanted to stand on principle, not on what's popular. I didn't do plant-based because it was popular. I did it for the principle of it's the right thing to do, in my opinion. And when I stood up about these issues, it's because it's the right thing to do. So I hope I can continue to have the courage to follow my moral compass and not the popular one.
Yeah. So do you seem kind of like I don't know if you do meditate? Did you pray about just kind of speaking up?
I meditated. It's a big part of chapter. I mentioned I traveled for a few years. I spent 10 years meditating every day uh, for almost an average of an hour a day. So it's been a huge part of my life is to go inward and reflect on um, this external story that we're sometimes caught in, which causes stress and worry and anxiety, and the relative peace that's here when we're present and outside of our story and outside of our worries. So that was a big part of, I think, having a bit of capacity to respond to what was happening instead of reacting with a sense of fear. So yeah, I was very conscious and aware of that process throughout.
Yeah. So did you get any pushback from from kind of pivoting your messaging and in particular from like the vegan community?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because I was a writer for a major plant-based newspaper. I'll just put it there. And I was doing transformation articles for them, and it was a great flow. As I mentioned, I had so yeah, I lost clients. I lost that project that I was doing with them. I had doctors that I respected that would come and comment and attack my posts, and so it was harsh, and I lost thousands and thousands of followers, tens of thousands of followers, but it was so liberating. And if anyone wants to take any message out of this, it's the idea that it's so freeing to speak the truth and to speak your own truth, whatever that is. And the idea to live in out of alignment with what we think and we say, when that's not lining up, there's internal stress and struggle. And you're never going to feel whole. You're never going to feel integrated. You're not going to feel integrity in yourself. So, what lesson I learned from that is it was so beautiful to recognize that freedom and to recognize that didn't kill me, and to recognize that, yes, I lost a lot of followers, whatever value that is. I love the people that support me, and but at the same time, I had even more come back and say, I love you for standing your ground. Thank you. I appreciate your courage. And honestly, yeah, I just let it be as it was. And not only things were okay, they're even better. So, I took a risk to speak out, and it paid for itself in every aspect of my life.
Yeah. What good do you think came out of the pandemic?
A greater awareness of the collusion between government agencies and special interests. I think people are starting to recognize that the system doesn't work the way we thought it worked, and that we have to really start questioning and scrutinizing, and not just saying we trust the science, but truly looking at it. And um, you know, so that's a major aspect, is that we're waking up there, and I really think it's sparked something that I'm calling the Great Awakening. It's an
Yeah.
awakening on the planet right now, where we are evolving on a spiritual level to a higher level of consciousness, out of the state of fear that we've been um, programmed to live under through all the institutions, knocking us down in fear. And I think there's a sense of we have this capacity to wake up and live more compassionately from a standpoint of love. And so I think it had awakened a sleeping giant, and we're just getting started on that.
Yeah, we really are. And so can you remind me when you decided to do this holistic bundle? Was it before 2020 or was it after?
Yeah, the holistic bundle, the first one we did was just in January of this year.
Okay,
Uh,
because I
so
saw it and I was like, oh, I got to be part of that.
I'm
So,
so glad you are a part of that. It's something that I love. And here's the thing: is we have plant-based bundles, and there's a lot of plant-based solutions in this. A majority of the solutions that are food related are plant-based, but some aren't. But the idea is that I think it's one thing that we're also learning from this pandemic is the idea that we need to come together.
yeah,
And I've had some people that are vegans that I asked to join the bundle, and they said, if it's not 100% vegan, I'm not interested in it. I said, we have to stop that divisive attitude.
right.
And this is exposing. Do we want to reach a sounding, do we want to have like an echo chamber where we're reaching vegans or reaching vegans? Or do we want to reach out to people that aren't necessarily looking for it and expose them to our lifestyle through a platform like this bundle? And so for me, I can be one of those representatives. You can be one of those. We are the representatives within this bundle. Many other vegans as well are coming together and saying, "Listen, come check out our world as well." And we're reaching a lot of non-vegans through promoting this, and that's one of the most exciting things about this bundle.
And something that I think is so cool as a organic farmer, like we grow and we are surrounded and we sell at the farmers market and we are surrounded by local farmers, not all plant farmers, animal farmers. And for me, that's hard. But they're part of my community. And I think that if anything, it's a much better step. It's a step in the right direction to be sourcing food locally, not at all funding any of this factory farming chaos and corruption. So it's like we have to unite. And like you said, even though it's, you know, it's not all or nothing, really, we have to come together and find common ground. And I think a lot of holistic living has so much common ground, and a lot of it puts so much emphasis on lots of plants in the dietary pattern, and using plants to heal, and using plants as medicine, and understanding the power of connecting to the earth and growing our own food and slowing down and getting out of the rat race and reconnecting to human existence. And so even if it's not a fully plant-based bundle, like this is where change happens, you know, where we can find, you know, common ground, we can find similarities and really unite and expand this energetic, you know, rising up of people who are really trying to change the world and, you know, share what's really important, which is, you know, human connection.
Human connection. I love that. And it's so true. You know, you mentioned about the bundles. We did something called the off-grid homestead bundle.
Yeah.
And a lot of the off-grid folks, they do raise animals.
Yeah.
It was interesting for me to talk to them and share my perspective. We have to get out of these echo chambers if we want to start reaching people. You know, have to start to understand these different cultures and perspectives people are coming from. You know, maybe they're not as crazy as we thought. Maybe they, you know, and I think the what's causing such a divide in keeping us from uniting is we have these stereotypes. Well, if they believe this, they probably also support that person and voted for this person.
Right,
You know,
right.
stereotypes, or you know, if they eat meat, that means they're, and then they look at vegans as these extremists who are, you know, because they're seeing the extreme videos that come across them, and so you know what? No, I want them to see that we're normal, that we aren't judgmental, that are willing to listen to, okay, why do they eat me? Why do they, you know, what is it like to raise their animals? You know, these are, for me, it's this type of integration that is going to unite us, and where we can start to take the best principles of our different worlds and share our unique differences and start to recognize there's something to learn from every different culture, and to understand them better. And I think that's you know, a beautiful opportunity, that you know, that this bundle specifically is even bringing us together to make these connections, and you know, unite and connect with people on a whole different level.
Yeah. Yeah. And just kind of closing the conversation about the vegan topic here. I honestly, I don't know if it's just because I've like woken up to it, or if it's really been this massive push. There's a lot going on. We know there's a lot going on behind the scenes that most people don't know about at all. But there's this huge vegan push, and there's so much vegan crap out there that I honestly have been embarrassed over the last few years to even say the word vegan. Like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm not even going there anymore. I eat
Yeah.
whole food, plant-based. I don't
Same.
add a lot of salt, oil, and sugar. Like, that's the way that I roll. I help people that are addicted to processed foods and that need to heal, you know, like it's more about just whole plant living, than it is about vegan, because I think that so much of the vegan, I don't want to call it an agenda, but like the vegan situation right now is actually making people sick. And because there's just so much crap out there, and it's just not good. Not good at all.
I agree. And that's the thing, in the circles that I'm in, it's, it's, I do get approached a lot, and they're like, well, that must mean, sometimes things are, just because something's vegan does not mean it's healthy. And I don't eat Impossible Burgers. I don't eat processed foods. I eat lentils and beans and tons of fruit.
Mm-hmm.
I eat a high carb raw lifestyle. And um, I love it. And the idea that there's been a lot of people getting kind of labeled and caught up in, there's certain philosophies that I just I don't know, that it seems to me with this whole processed food and the vegan movement, and some of the extremes with the environmental pushes, to approach it in a more a way where society will kind of, some of these environmental principles that vegans seem to support and I would support have been hijacked and corrupted, and I can't support them based on that. They're actually more dangerous to society than they would be beneficial. So yeah, there is not only the food aspect of it, but also the idea that there are some agendas that seem to be bought into by, not to stereotype, but by a lot of us. And so yeah, I just wanted to represent the community the best I can by kind of, yeah, letting people know that it's, we're all individuals and we're all learning along the way, and we can't box anybody into a particular title or name. So
Great. All right. Thank you for shedding light on that. All right, Ben, I ask all of my guests this, and I want to know from you what your take is. What does holistic living mean to you? So, I mean, this is very timely because we're doing a holistic health bundle, but what does it mean to you to live a holistic life?
well, the concept of whole, of being whole, is really, covers the ground of not just addressing it from a standard of whole foods, but of living from a standpoint of wholeness. And I really think that ultimately holistic, even those two different words, whole with a W and whole with an H, the idea of real holistic living boils down to living life from a place of living in harmony, of living whole, opposed to the standpoint of living as separate. Ultimately, if we aren't integrated and living in harmony with our mind, body, and spirit together, we're missing a greater opportunity to really optimize our health. So for me, it's about optimal living that includes not only what we eat and drink and think, but also the aspects of truly opening our hearts and connecting with ourselves and with and beyond. So that's what it means to me.
Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else that you want to leave our listeners with, or that you feel on your heart to share?
Gosh, I think, we can leave it at that. I just wanted to say, I appreciate the opportunity to share my journey. I hope it can inspire or, spark some ideas for somebody. So if anybody wants to reach me or watches this and wants to ask me a question or just say hello, feel free to do so.
Yes. And follow Ben at Plant-Based Ben on Instagram. And I will just tell you, Ben, your story, I actually didn't know like that you just decided at this retreat or whatever that you were going to do. You were going to do something and you were going to change you're going to change your life, and you did. And like, you just did it, and you completely changed your health, and now you're helping other people do the same, and you're inspiring and educating and really finding so many influencers in the health and wellness space to share this message with. And it's just, you really inspired me. So
Thank you.
hopefully that means something to you. So thank you so much for being on, and we appreciate you. And I am so thankful for all that you do. So thanks again, Ben.
It means a lot. Thank you so much, Stacey.